What up everybody? Welcome back to the Highwire Garage, and on today's video it's going to be a big collaboration of all the videos I've had in the past couple weeks of me fixing the Supra. I haven't taken like one long video. I've just been taking clips all here and there because I've done a lot of stuff to try to fix this car. This will lead you up to the point where I am right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and explain each clip as they're playing. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit about like the gas tank problem I had. I had a problem with the clutch. I had to swap all the fluids, change the oil, right? I had some fuel leaks. I had a starter problem. I had a battery I had to get, and a couple other issues. But here we go. Let's get started. So as you can see, the car is really dirty. I had to bring it in there and really clean it up. This is actually like I think the day after, 2 days after I got the car, so it was pretty dirty. Just a lot of like stuff in there, like just shit that they were leaving in the car for no reason. It doesn't look like there was any mice or anything living in there, which was good. So nothing was really like gross. Just tons of stuff crammed in there. So what I did was I actually had to first thing drop the gas tank because I knew there was probably going to be rust in the tank. So what I did was I dropped the tank, and as you could see there was like a little bit of a rust hole in that top side, which sucks. So I had to actually fix that by putting a piece of like metal. I actually cleaned the whole tank with some de-ruster. I siliconed it all up, JB welded it. For now it's temporary, but I'm going to get another tank eventually. I had to get a new bracket that holds your fuel pump on the top. That big hole up top that I was showing you, that actually was all rusted out and part of the line was broken. So what I did was I had to go through Toyota and try to get another fuel pump bracket. I think right now what I'm going to do is I show you that underneath there's a little bit of rust underneath the tire well, but like the spare tire well, but that's in every car. Here's the nasty pump that I had to actually wind up replacing. I wound up going with a Walbro 255 because I didn't want to have any issues, and I'm keeping this car, basically, a stock, and I'm going to try to restore it at piece by piece as I have the money. So what I did now was I went through, I started swapping all the fluids, tranny fluid, clutch fluid, everything like that. I actually had a problem with the clutch. The oil looked pretty clean when I took it out. That's actually the oil. Some stuff fell off the bottom of the car into the pan, but I think they did an oil change before they had the car sitting, which was good. I did an oil change. And then as I tried to start the car, just by turning the key to like see if the fuel pump was working, once I got that stuff back in, the fuel filter had a break on it and started spraying underneath the car. So that last clip was actually me being able to start the car off my truck because the battery was really bad in it, and I hooked my truck right up to it to try to get it to start, and it did right after I did all that. So once I had the clutch fixed, once I had the fuel, like all the fuel issues fixed, I was actually able to start it right up, like no problem. It started, as you can see right there, and it was running for probably like about 35 seconds, and I was just happy to have it running. Okay, so the next day what I did was I actually went through and I got a new starter and a new battery because I knew I was having an issue with the starter because it was cranking very slow when I was trying to turn the car over. But as you can tell now from this clip, what it's going to show you is that I got the new battery and new starter in it, and it was able to crank over. So right there, as you can tell, it started right up. You can see the two cams spinning, everything looking really nice, and the car sounded like really nice as it was going to start. So I got out, I was checking everything out to make sure everything was running fine. I didn't have any overheating problems or anything. I was trying to see what was going to start leaking because I knew I was going to have some leaks somewhere in the car. And I wound up having a bunch of coolant leaks, and actually, as I think in this next clip what I show you is that I had like a big bubble burst from one of the coolant things. Oh no, so I tried to take it outside, and then I was having a problem having it, like it didn't want to stay running. which at first I was worried that maybe it was overheating, that I didn't put enough coolant in it. And like I said, I was thinking there would be a coolant leak, so I was checking to see, but I had pressure there. So, you know, I went through and I was looking at everything just to see why the car was all of a sudden, it stalled out after running for probably about 2 minutes. I tried to pull it out of the garage and it just stalled right out. And I was like, okay, let me check if something's overheating, or maybe the coil pack's overheating, something unplugged. Let me look in there, make sure the oil's spinning around, there's no oil clogs or anything like that. And everything seemed fine when I was looking at it. But again, the car was having a hard time running. It was just, it wouldn't stay running. It got warm and then it would die out instantly. So then I started to think, hey, maybe I have a boost leak. Maybe there's leaks in one of the lines. Maybe the MAF is bad. Has to be something with that, because I have fuel, I have spark, all that stuff is fine. So next thing, we got it back in the garage. Once I had it back in the garage, I wound up buying a timing light just to check the timing, and all of a sudden, the car wouldn't start. Everything I did, just the car wouldn't start. I had the timing light hooked up right. I was thinking maybe I messed something up, this or that. Nope. The car wouldn't just start. It just sat there. So I started to think, well, I put a new starter, I put a new battery in it. It was starting the other day, no problem. What could it be? So I went through, I removed the timing light, I tried to tighten the battery, I tried to do everything I could think possible, and I couldn't figure it out for probably a day or two. What was wrong? What was not letting the car start? I tried to jump it again. I tried everything I possibly could, and the car didn't want to start. So I went through, I did some research on the forums, and I wound up reading online that possibly it could be something with the theft detection system. So I started doing some searching underneath the center console, and I found a mess of wires, a big rat's nest. They looked like they tried to bypass the anti-theft system, and whatever was going on, I think the car was locked out. So either it was not letting the car run for more than 2 minutes as a safety feature, or it was not letting me, or that's why the car died originally, or it was just, you know, the theft detection system just locked the total ignition out, and that's why the car wouldn't start now. I even got a new igniter, as I just grabbed right there, just to see, because I was thinking maybe it is a spark issue. So what I did was I bought one of the little, like, you can jump the starter. So I bought that to see if the engine would crank over, and as you can tell right here, it is spinning when I do a little remote jump starter. You could hear it basically try to start, and all of a sudden it wouldn't start. So I got the theft detection system bypassed, and then it seemed like the car wanted to start. So I tried to give it a couple turns, tried to turn it over, and it started right up, which is good. So I got past the theft detection system, and the car was starting with the ignition. Now it wasn't staying running, which I thought was maybe another issue with boost leaks or electrical. So I went through, I found that the O2 sensor actually had a break on one of the wires. One of the wires leading to the coil pack is loose in the connector, which I still actually have to fix, but for now I have it all taped together. I replaced the igniter, like I said before. I have to remove the old one still, but for now the new igniter is working, and I ran a separate ground to the igniter so that there was no issue with that. Next, what I actually had to do was I had to go through and check the injectors, because I wanted to make sure that they were getting voltage to them, or that they were even good. Because if all the fuel rail and everything like that was getting fuel, but the injectors were clogged, then the engine was going to die out after a little bit. And I was thinking that maybe the cold start line was the only reason why it was running, and that's why it died after 2 minutes. You know, maybe that line kicks off after 2 minutes. So I was testing all the injectors, testing them, everything like that, and I couldn't figure it out. And then what happened was I went back one day and I started messing with it, and I turned it on, and like I said, the car would run for about 2-3 minutes, and then all of a sudden I think I found a major boost leak, and right here is actually where I discover it, as you can tell from this video. I put my hand. So once I figured out that there was a huge boost leak in front of the throttle, I closed it up with a little glove right there, as you could tell, and the car started to actually run. It started idling great. It was running fine. Everything was fine. As you could tell, there's a little bit of white smoke coming out from above the turbo, and actually this is where I have a major coolant leak. So what happened was there was a cap on the side of the engine block that I think might be just a drain, and the cap was cracked. So what I wound up doing was the same thing I did right here with the glove. Is I actually did that on the side of the block where the coolant was to try to see if I could just cover the cap that had a crack in it with a glove and a hose or a hose clamp and just get it to work. But since I now had the car running for more than about 2 or 3 minutes, the coolant got hot and actually expanded the glove. So what you'll see here is this is where I wound up having a major boost, or not major boost leak, but a major coolant leak. As you can tell, like the radiator cap was leaking a little bit right here, but watch this clip right here. This is where it breaks. One thing, take a look at this. Okay, so there is a lot of issues with this car, a lot of things that have to get fixed, right? So this turbo is smoking. Oh, and there goes the fucking line. That's what I didn't want to happen. Okay, so down there, I don't know if you could tell. Oh, and there goes a bunch of coolant. Yup. So yeah, that sucked bad. So I actually had to wind up getting that fixed. But as you can tell right there, that's where the coolant's leaking out. So that was the broken cap that burst after I put the glove on there. Stupid me, but at least I got it to work, and you know, I figured it out that that's what was actually causing the white smoke above the turbo, and that's where my major coolant leak was coming from. So we got that all fixed. Right here, as you can see, I actually got the car able to drive out. This is where I am at this point right now. So the car is able to drive out of the garage. I don't have brakes. I still have to do brakes on it, but I fixed the coolant problem that I had, and from what I can tell, the car will run for longer than 5 minutes. I can bring it up and down the block, not a problem. It is registered now, which is pretty sweet. I just have to get the brakes done on it because the e-brake is actually shot, and so are the regular brakes. They need to be bled, or I need to do a total brake, like calipers and rotors and everything like that. I also believe that the shocks are going bad because one of them seemed to be dripping. But it's pretty cool to have the car running after a couple weeks of working on it. There was a lot of different things that I went through. I'm sorry I wasn't up to date on all my clips, and I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, and I said some stuff in the wrong order or whatever that I did, because it's probably been a month since all this stuff. So I am ahead right now with the brakes. I actually wound up buying the brake kit to start making my own brake lines and all that stuff. So I am getting started on that right now at the moment. But yeah, the Supra is running. I'm so glad to have it running after it was sitting for so long. It was so many stupid little issues that I ran into. If you were to, you know, tighten one thing too tight or loosen something, something down the line might have broke. It was just a pain in the butt because the bones of the car are great. Like the shell, everything like that is awesome. But like the bolts and like the lines, for some reason, just suck on the car. They're all rotted out. So, you know, whatever. I'm gonna have to go through and start actually, you know, replacing all the lines here and there. But the car is still not at my house, so until I get it at my house, I don't want to start doing that. I also think that I could possibly have a problem with maybe the oil. I could be having an oil leak on the top of the block. I noticed that there was some oil sloshing around in one of the plug areas, so we'll have to see about that. But for now, the car is running. Like I said, I got it registered in Connecticut, which is pretty cool. And yeah, next is just going to be working on restoring it piece by piece as I have the money. So thanks for watching, guys. I know this is a different kind of video than I normally do, and I'm sorry I haven't been up on the clips for the Supra, but I'll have more content now that the weather is getting better, and I'll have more Supra stuff coming at you as fast as I can get it out. But you know the usual, guys. Please comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more